This is All Out Rugby, and we've been joined by Richard Feher, who is on his way to go and compete, and we know he's going to the Hero Run. That is to raise money and awareness for the Chris Burger Petro Jackson Players Fund. Richard, yes. This is one heck of a trip. You're going to go and run 160 Ks now in 7 days. That is already daunting.
But underneath, 5 days.
On 5 days. In the, underneath the 4 highest peaks in the world. This sounds like madness.
I wish it was 7 days. Yeah, it's not madness, but it's, see, I can do it. And the reason I'm doing it is I'm an average guy, and I'm an ex-rugby guy, and I have an understanding of what some guys in rugby can't do. So I think by running it and by getting some exposure, people can open their hearts and their purses to putting some money towards a good cause.
Now, you work with some of the players that have had spinal injuries and that cannot walk themselves, and this is obviously a tribute to them at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, to have played rugby myself and to have mates have played rugby, and then to be a physiotherapist working with guys who cannot run again, cannot catch a ball again, cannot go to the toilet again. This will highlight the importance of safety in rugby and then assisting guys who can't anymore. You know?
How have you gone about your training? Talk us through that.
It's been aside from a couple of good lagers.
The carbo loading doesn't count, okay?
I've been running half marathon nearly every day for the last 6 months. So I run about 120 kilometers a week. And then we've been going up to the Drakensberg and to Lesotho nearly every weekend for the last month to do some altitude training, because it's quite high in, around Everest, so I think there is going to be...
Quite high is an understatement.
I was about to say, you know, that must be a killer, the oxygen, lack of oxygen up there.
I think it's going to be tough. I did a small run last... I've just actually driven back from Lesotho now, but last weekend I was running in... at the top of Champagne Castle, and after running 6 Ks, it felt like I'd run 20. So it's going to be a challenge. I think Arnie was saying to me that it's going to feel like the equivalent, the 160 kilometers I'm running, is going to feel like 300 kilometers.
Yeah, without doubt, they say that running at that altitude is obviously very tough. Luckily, though, because you in Johannesburg a lot of the time, your adjustment should happen slightly faster than, let's say, an athlete who's only been training at sea level.
Yeah, I like the way you use the word athlete. Thanks, Arnie.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it should be a little bit easier for me. I have some of my friends who are doctors have given me a drug called Dimox, which helps with altitude sickness, and I might take that depending on how my acclimatization goes on the first 3 days.
I also know that you are very involved with the Chris Burger Petro Jackson Players Fund. Just give us a little idea for those folks who are uninitiated in exactly what the fund does.
What the fund does, I mean, it's a great fund, and it was started about almost 30 years ago. And it's what it does is it highlights the importance of rugby injuries. And I don't know where I read it recently, but in the old days, I think you could say that rugby was dangerous and sex was safe. And now sex is dangerous and rugby is safe.
Frick de Pre always says that, yeah.
But even though it's getting safer, I think the guys are getting stronger and faster and more aggressive at a younger age, and they're playing for longer. Yeah. And I think what we've got to do is just highlight the fact that there are things that we can do to strengthen ourselves in the beautiful game and still play a good game of rugby, but not get injured. And then over and above, showing people that it is a grave concern. What the fund does is it assists families for guys who died actually from neck injuries, as well as assisting them with aids like wheelchairs, etc.
Richard, obviously this is going to be tough. But is this a once-off, or would you want to answer that after the race?
Kobus, maybe after the race. But for me, I think this is... I've done several crazy things before, and this is a continuation, and we'll talk when I get back.
You must be the hooker when you're playing. Doing crazy things.
Too many blows to the head. Richard, the amazing thing for me about this, and here I'd like to pay tribute to, is you have no sponsors. There's no one who's paid for your trip or your race entry or your other expenses. You've done this all by yourself, so you really must believe in this cause.
I really do believe in this cause. I used to be an international rugby physio at the World Cup in '99. I was heavily involved in rugby journalism. I played rugby, and now I'm a physiotherapist that works with brain and spinal injuries. And I really do believe that if you suffer this playing rugby, you will miss out on a lot in life. And rugby, we're a big family. One thing rugby's done for me, and it's done for you guys, is we're a family across the world. And I think that by doing this, I can touch the minds and hearts of rugby players and their families throughout the world, and hopefully they can get to see what the fun's about.
Are there telephones, cell phone reception, etc. out there? Can you let us know during your day's exertion or afterwards how it's going?
I would like to. I've Vodacom as a sponsor of the fund. We're approached them, and we're hoping, if I can say this, that they may donate to the Chris Berger Fund. And if they do, they may also provide me with communication that I can then talk to, just for the 5 days anyway, to a radio station or someone here that can broadcast how difficult it is and my feelings on what's going on and how stuffed I am.
Which without doubt is going to happen, I have no doubt. Let's give you an opportunity to make a difference, and you can also donate. There it is. www.playersfund.org.za, and I think if you can, 50 cents, 5 Rand, whatever it may be. There's also the Players Fund office telephone number, and that's 021 659 5615. You can make a difference, whatever the donation may be. Richard, I think we really admire your fighting spirit. We're hoping that we'll admire those flashing legs as you fly up the mountains. We hope that it goes very well, and we're extremely proud of you. Give it a stick out there.
Barney, thank you.
There is still, of course, our SMS opinion poll, and there's a heck of a lot more to go as far as All Out Rugby is concerned, because the SMS, well, it's become very interesting, the SMS opinion poll, because the fact of the matter is that's what it looks like at the moment. 48%, and then that must be 52% at the bottom. But now, yeah. Maybe there's so many cheetah supporters out there after the win that there's an extra, and that's out of 101% these days.
That 1% more is SJ.
Is it? Well, there you go.
His faith is back.
And a lot of cheetahs' faith is back. If you believe 09 Absa Currie Cup champions will be the Blue Bulls, SMS A. If you believe it will be the Free State Cheetahs, SMS B to 33672. That number again, 33672. The Heineken Cup second round results come your way, and we'll tell you all about all the other finals, the under-19s, the under-21s, and of course, if you happen to have missed the details so far, the final in 2 weeks' time, right here on SuperSport. In the meantime, All Out Rugby continues after this.